Howdy y'all, this is AR Cavally. Welcome back to my channel and the forbidden adventures in forbidden lands of Lennox and so far Zel. I'm gonna knock this one. Gonna have a little more fun here before I have to go wrestle with my mower for who knows how long to get it started. Anyway, um, when we left, they had returned the victorious heroes, having defeated the monster and essentially saving Pearlberry. Lennox having earned himself a reputation a little bit with his, his fight with Nob. May not be always a good reputation, depending on whether or not the people in the village like Nob. But as the story propagates, and most people realize that, or Hob, that Hob was being the Nob. So in the morning, as he wakes up for the new day, we will go to our procedure. All right, shuffle the deck of playing cards. Now it's time to get some experience. I'm going to play some experience. Before I do that, though, I'm going to spend some experience. The sword battles that that Lennox had yesterday, first fighting Hob and defeating him, and then fighting a monster and the demon that popped out of the monster. I think I'm going to buy the swordsman talent. And since he was raised as a swordsman, as a squire, I'm going to say he doesn't have to. I mean, he did use his swordsman ability, but I think in this case, it's really more of those things that he once knew that he kind of gave up when he gave up the soldier life, kind of came flooding back into him. So I'm going to allow him to use his experience to buy that trait. All right, so learning a new talent costs 3 XP. And it says it requires a quarter day of practice and successful wits. But I'm going to say, like I said, that it kind of came back to him in the heat of the battle. Those things that his long dead knight, his long dead master had taught him. So I think we'll go with swordsman. Or okay, sword fighter. All right, so get sword fighter at rank 1. And he hates to admit it, but the sword, it feels good in his hand again. So now I just need to remember that he has that ability, which is always my issue with games that have talents and stuff. I always have to look them up, or I always forget what they mean. But in the morning, after again a long night of celebration with the citizens of Pearlberry, who are glad that the monster's dead, who want the tale regaled time and time again as he's drinking, and possibly some young lasses show their appreciation to our heroes. We'll leave that to the listeners' imaginations. But the following morning, shrugging off the effects of those celebrations. Lennox hears a knock at the door, and it's the innkeeper, one of the innkeeper's kids. Is it, "Sir, Mr. Rami would like to see you this morning. He says to be at your leisure." And he runs off. So there I am with that so again. Stop with the filler words, Aaron. Lennox gets ready, does his morning stuff, goes downstairs, and sees Zel and a lot of the usual crew, the stranger who tells a lot of good stories and is secretly, unknowns to anybody, a noble renting the room. And I think I'm gonna tag that noble as maybe somebody who wants to set out on some adventures of his own. The lovely um, but somewhat droll trader who dresses in the dark. She's there. She waves hi, and they eat their meal and carry on. They head up to Rami's house. And they once again feel the strange pressure of the runes and the magics that are within the house. And as they approach, he opens the door for them. "Come in, please." He offers them some rich smelling tea and asks them to regale once again in more detail now they've had a night to sleep over it, and they speak to it. They tell the tale, each one, and Rami, as they're sipping, pours tea. Monsters themselves, they roam the lands, as do demons. But that this demon had something it wanted from us, I wonder if there's not some other deviltry beneath its appearance. But that is a matter for me to puzzle out, not you. You have fulfilled your part of the bargain quite splendidly. Now you know the tale of Niha, the elven princess. However, the part of the tale does not specify exactly what happened to her. I will tell you my opinion is that she is no longer there. Whatever being she contacted, whatever being was sending her dreams of love, took her mind and destroyed her soul, and has now, like the demon you described, possessed her husk. So when you're dealing, if you find her, and may the gods grant you your mission, if you find her, remember that you may not be talking to an elven princess, but some dark creature, some demon of, well, obvious, nefarious purpose. But I know of the sight that of which you speak, and truly it is nearly straight north. Many days' travel, but straight north. You will have to cross the river or travel down it, if that is your preferred means of travel. But it is in the Fuhlenmark, along the northern mountains. There is a vast valley, and there, at the end of that valley, at the western edge of the mountain range, will you find it. In the deep recesses of that valley, you will find the castle that the heart of madness lies. Sadly, I cannot tell you if her artifact still remains, the mott pine cone that she crafted from crystal to put her ent guardians to sleep. I simply don't know. It is a place of the undead, of restless spirits, and few wish to go there at all. And I know of no one who has these many years. But I will continue to offer my hospitality as you pack, rest, take your leave here. And if you cannot be persuaded to stay, for you've gained quite a reputation and you've shown your bravery and your helpfulness to our poor village, then I grant you blessings on your going. Stock your provisions, care for your horse. I appreciate your hospitality, and I appreciate the knowledge. Well, I was afraid we'd never find anybody who had heard of it. There's some crazy tale that Lady Sif came up with one night. No, she is quite learned, if she knows that tale. But farewell, and if, on your return, you wish to stay with us, you are always welcome here. And with that, with the pleasantries being over, they part on good terms, and Lennox and Zel head back to the Lucky Crow and carry on. They finish making their preparations, and as much as Lennox has kind of come to like Pearlberry, he doesn't really see a reason to delay. His task is to save Cold Breach, not Pearlberry. Although now he does, if he decides to get to expand once again his trading, then he'll go there. He'll use it maybe as a forward base of trading. And now that they have a mount, Lennox is going to, he left his other knapsack back in Coalbreach because he really couldn't carry everything. But he's going to, as part of his provisioning and stuff, he's going to go and hit all the trading people and create a knapsack. Again, like it says here, requires a visit to a trading post of some kind. I'd say that this is probably big enough. It has 2 mills and a militia and a large inn. So 1 willpower and 2d6 silver. right, 9 silver and 1 willpower. So he's going to make change. And we're going to put this on the horsey. I think it's a heavy. Yeah, heavy. So we're going to put that on the horsey. And really, I should come up with a. I need to come up with the stats for the horse. I think he's also. He's gonna. I think he'll look to see if there's a mount for Zel. Right now, they've been kind of sharing the horse and using it more as a mount or as a beast of burden. Spend my willpower to get my knapsack. Let's see how much a horsey. All right, so going through the questions for experience, they did travel through a new place. They did find gold, treasure over 1 gold, and they slew a monster. So that gives them 3 experience points. But he spent the 3 experience points, so that kind of washes out. And looking at the reputation, I think +1 because the feared monster was slain. Not only was the feared monster slain, but the orc who probably is taking, is going to make it sound like he did the most of the fighting and slaying the demon. But the story is going to get through the orc tribes, and the human fighter is going to probably do the same, but wherever he is living. So we'll leave the experience levels the same. And his reputation is now +2. Zel decided to buy himself a mount, a riding horse. And I went and put those on the sheets. The weather roll was a 5, a 1, and a 1. So that's there's a gale winds with clear skies, but it's hot. So the hot, each hiking player must succeed with an endurance roll every quarter day not to get thirsty. So that's an interesting phenomenon to have, considering we're in a forest. Maybe there's a forest fire or some kind of hot wind, maybe coming through the mountains from the west, from the fiery land of the Asleans, or something like that. Either way, it's hot and windy. I will pause and update our adventure journal. All right, they are heading north. They have not explored this part of the area, so they get their normal rolls. And Zel gets his wits back after a good night of drinking and carousing. All right, so a good roll as he leads us through. And because he got three successes, I'm going to say that I'm going to roll that up and say that he also found he leads us to a good path across the river. And maybe it was something obvious that everybody else in the area knows about, and they would have known if they bothered to ask. So let's shuffle our cards and a Jack of Clubs for our journey. Face card, a general encounter. Draw a card and consult the chart on page 170. Let's draw ourselves another card here. Not look at you, but draw another. Three of diamonds. No encounter. All right. I'll take that. So easy traveling. They get across the river and I reckon they'll still try to follow that little area through the woods. And they enter a new hex. So on with the business of traveling. To survival. No mishap. King of diamonds. I think that's going to be the face card. Yeah. So draw again on the general encounter table. Oh, ace of diamonds. That's got to be something. Ace of diamonds. Sorcerer and soldier. So they come across sorcerer and soldier. Let's see how deadly they are to us. Two of diamonds. So they are neutral. Do they even want to interact with us at all? Maybe they're like us and they just want to mind their own business. So I'm just going to ask a general question, yes, no question, with a single draw because I don't have an idea of what their response might be. Do they Do they interact with us in any meaningful way? Do they want something from us? They seem to be neutral. Queen of clubs. I think that's going to be a no, but with a complication. No and some complication. So they don't want anything to do with us. What kind of complication might that be? Could be that they think we're somebody else. That's a decent idea. Let's see what the oracles tell us. We'll use our theme oracle. Jack of Hearts. Dream. They saw us in a dream, maybe. They're on a dream quest, maybe. Let's draw another card for that table. Seven of Hearts. So illusion and dream. Illusion and dream. So they don't want anything to do with us, but there's a complication. What could that complication has to do with illusions and dreams? So possibly, huh? So I'll just toss out some initial thoughts before I hit pause and decide. But my initial thoughts, so say if there are illusions and dreams, maybe that creature that we're after, the one with the heart of madness up there, maybe somehow they know we're on our way and they have communicated to these adventurers to stop us. And it is communicated to them via dreams and has given them the illusion that maybe we are something else, some kind of monsters or traitors, somebody that they already hate or that they're looking for. How about that? What's that possibility? And I'm going to hit pause and ponder that for a moment. So their threat is neutral. And I'm going to give. So maybe that's the case. They are being led by some power of illusion, maybe something they got in their dreams, but they're not sure. Maybe probably the sorcerer was the one contacted doing some of his sorcery stuff. Well, I don't. Dang it. These are not. One thing I realized, just as an aside, this monster tab is really for using it as its own whole sheet. So that is that's its purpose. So you can use it as a character sheet or making a monster sheet. But now I was trying to use them together, so I was obviously using them wrong. And now I see that I have the wrong wrong values saved there from when I had messed around. I bet my skills are probably hosed up too. So I think what I probably need to do is uh, go look at a previous episode or something because I don't think I have them written down anywhere. Also, the monster generator, I found it's in the Legends and Adventure creation booklet. So it is. There's that. So no. So it is part of the base game. It's just not in the main books. I'm going to pause and correct my character sheet. All right, got that fixed up. Let's give a scouting roll to see if he sees them. Oh, okay. Well, I didn't. I didn't get that fixed up. I don't think his scouting is actually 3. I think his scouting's just 1. Yes, his scouting is actually 1. So we'll do his scouting roll plus 2 for his telescope, his spyglass. Excellent. So he gets 2 successes. He sees them well enough out there that they know what to do. I don't know that he's close enough to get any kind of insight. You know, he might. He might be able to, if to determine maybe if they look like they're looking for somebody, or if they're looking of a purpose, or if they're just wandering. So 1 success. There is something about their demeanor that he does not want. He doesn't want to run across them. He just has a sixth sense. His sixth sense is kind of going off, or his paranoia, whatever keeps you alive. And they're going to ride around. They're going to try to avoid them. They are on a path. They might have seen each other. Going to give a They are going to try to ride, and the other people maybe try to follow. Because given that they're on horses, even if he managed to scout them far out, they probably did see them. Can they get around? Let's see. We'll give him a move. All right, so they do manage to evade them. It seems like they do try to follow, but between their horses and being able to move through the woods, they evade these two. But these two, this fighter and sorcerer, they will remain a concern. And now it's hot, so they must each quarter day they have to pass an endurance test or suffer from thirst. All right. Roll, please. Roll, please, Lennox. So it is hot, but they managed to keep to the trees a lot, keep out of the way, to stay in the shadow. What do they know about the Foolin' Mark? right, another one. I'm sure I'm sure his lore is not 3. His insight was 3. I think that lore 3 was from the demon that I accidentally put on this sheet the other day. What does he know about it? Anything? Nope. Not really. Not anything worthwhile. He knows he's not really the biggest fan of traveling through forests. Forests do provide cover, but they also provide cover for bad guys and big monsters who like to lurk in the dark forests. Now, as the GM, I know that the Foulin Mark, the south, at least portion of it, is home to the Urhur orcs, and that Harmsmoor is home to ogres. So orcs on one side, ogres on the other, and stuck in the middle with Zel. You know what else I realized? I forgot if a forest is difficult or open. I would assume it's difficult. It's going to be under terrain or movement. Terrain types, 145. So even with a PDF there, I really feel more. I do like the search function if it's something that I'm looking for that's kind of difficult. But all right, forest, and that's just regular forest. I assume the dark forest is dark is dark forest. So open terrain. So that's good. I was afraid that maybe I had messed up the movement. Maybe I still did, but at least I've convinced myself better that I that I didn't. Yeah, open 2 hexagons per quarter or 3 hexagons per quarter. They are mounted. That's part of the point of having. So first quarter, they get to move one more area. Glad I looked that up. So we are still in the first quarter of the day, the morning. They're just going to cut straight north, try to find a way across the river. Zel, give us. Oh, and there is also because it's such clear skies. Yes. So +1 on lead the way. Survival +1 and roll. Well, negative. Negative Zel. That's going to be a fail. And lead the way. What is our lead the way failure going to be? And I'll have to admit, I don't really want it to be. I know it's part of the game and it's part of the random, but I don't really want it to just be downluge again. 5-4. All right. Or deluge. Downpour and deluge put together is a downluge, apparently. 5-4. Maybe I'll wish that it was a downpour when I see what it is. Wasp's nest. You step right into a nest of wasps. An angry swarm attack the entire group. Each adventurer must make a move roll or suffer an attack with 4 base dice, causing damage to agility. That's not too bad. I mean, I don't like wasps. I've been stung by them. All right, Zel. Did you make it? He does not, so he will get attacked. Lennox, do you make it? Negative. So each one of them will be attacked with 4 base dice from... Oh, okay, no. So Lennox gets no harm, and... Okay, so they stumble into, and I'm just going to ignore the horses. They stumble into an area of wasps, and one of the horses kicks over a log that has a wasp nest in it, and then buzzing fills the air, and Lennox says, "I know that tune. Go, go, go!" And they trot out. But they did enter a new hex, which an 8 of clubs. So that's going to be a black Book of Beasts encounter as we go back to our journeying of 1. All right, black is the Book of Beasts. D66 roll. 4 and a 5. Sounds like something's going to be there. Random encounter, planes, 4, 5. 13. Encounter number 13. Overgrown battlefield. An old battlefield opens up in the landscape like a wound of bad memories. The field is covered in wild grass and winding thorns, with grinning skulls on spikes protruding from the vegetation. Between the tussocks, there are rusty weapons lying side by side with gnawed up bones. So, judging by the skulls, it seems that orcs, elves, dwarves, and humans all fought and died in this place. If the adventurers spend a quarter day exploring the battlefield, they may roll once on the table of carried valuable finds. To be honest, I don't think either one of them really wants to spend it. Go digging through these dead bodies. Zell is a little more suspicious, I think, superstitious than Lennox, but he would also find it dishonorable. And Lennox, he's a peddler. He loves to earn his money, but digging through corpses is not really how he'd want to do it. It'd be one thing if he found like a dead body, but this is a battlefield and they would be spending hours going through, lifting up skeletons, digging up the dead. And so I just don't think he wants to do that. So they're going to ride on. For the next quarter of the day, I think they'll follow the river for a little bit and then cut north. I bet that tower is some kind of published site. Zel, survival. Roll.
Roll your survival check, please, Zel. Zel, I'm very disappointed in you.
Fail. Oh, 6 and a 2. Savage animal.
Hmm. Oh, I remember when it was just rain.
A wolf, bear, or other wild animal feels threatens and attacks you. The GM chooses an animal from the table on page 126. So we're in the plains by a river. Let's go see what our options on page 126 of the Game Master's Guide are. Oh, I was right there. Bear, wolf. Oh, crocodile. You know what? I think crocodile. I don't know if crocodiles are in this part of the Forbidden Lands or not, but this one is. They're riding along, and there's a crocodile. All right, well, look at that. I went digging through my complimentary Roll20 assets, and I do actually have some crocodiles and a river, although that one wasn't complimentary. It's just one, so I'll scooch that one over there on the side. Now I think being on horseback, there's probably no reason for them to even actually fight this guy. Unless they don't really notice him, and then the water's going to get bloody. We'll give Lennox a scouting roll, and if he passes, then they're just going to ride by the gator. Hmm. All right, the gator. They're just going to be trotting along the edge, and the gator just looks like a log. They don't notice it, and it's going to rush out. Now they're riding, so it's obviously going to attack one of their horses instead. One, two, three. It's going to attack Lennox. Right, it attacks Lennox. Oh, let's see. He's got this. This actually be one of those times where he could actually use his sixth sense. What does that do? Right when your scout roll is modified +1 when an enemy tries to ambush or perform a sneak attack. Since failing the roll essentially does the same thing, I'm going to just add one. I'm going to add that. I'm going to add that one to the scouting roll that he just made. Maybe it'll help. It did not. He was lulled, daydreaming of his victories against demons and monsters and lovely, if dour, traders back in Pearlberry. And he does not notice the crocodile leap out at his horse. I'm going to give the horse. Okay, this horse has Scout 3. So I'm going to let the horse roll. To see if it is completely surprised or not. If it fails, then it's not really going to be able to dodge. It's not going to be able to leap out of the way in time. All right, so everyone is taken completely by surprise. And this nasty critter has a strength of 5 and a melee of 3. And damage, too. They're riding along, and suddenly the water in that log that they were just about to ride around leap into action, rushing at Chauncey, teeth gnashing. Gulp. All right, 2, 3 injuries to Chauncey. I don't think Chauncey had armor. But even if he did, that thing probably bit it on the leg. So Chauncey, let me note down his regular stats. Strength 5. Oops. Strength 6. Agility 5. He takes 1, 2, 3. And the horse neighs and kicks and reins, and so does the other one. Lennox is going to have to pass a animal handling to even keep control of the beast. Well, he really doesn't want to get thrown onto the ground by an alligator. He's going to push. Actually, hold on a second. He is going to maybe, well, it's a little late now. I was going to say I should have used his talent to see if there was a different skill that he could use, like insight, to see that the horse was nervous, or melee even, to use his melee battle. Well, maybe he'll get another maybe he'll get another chance to use those. But he's going to push. Excellent. So pushing, by which I mean clinging desperately to the horse, he manages to get the horse yanked at, staying on his feet and staying in the saddle and riding off. Both the horses have a move of 2. They're just gonna ride away. Nay, nay. Of course, the horse is very not happy about getting chomped in the leg. But they take off well down the river. And once they get down far away, things are safe. They look around. They're away from the river, away from crocodiles. Lennox is going to try to heal the horse. wonder if healing horses, is that would be under animal handling or healing? Let me peruse my book. Generally speaking, what it seems like is the healing in Forbidden Lands is basically when someone's broken. So the horse is not broken, but he does use his healing to. Uh, I'll just roll because I like to roll. All right, so he manages to wrap up the horse's leg. It's pretty it doesn't look as bad. It's ugly, but not quite as bad as he was hoping, or not not hoping, as bad as he was fearing. So they managed to get away from the crocodile, and he is glad that he was able to maintain. And I think what I might do, I'll probably use that because it was an animal handling role, and that's a skill that he's been thinking about buying. So I will probably spend some experience points on that because that's a good tie. And because he used it in a stressful situation, he managed to keep the horse, this war horse, and they carry on. So I went and got that map and tokens set up for for no reason. Not no reason. All right, he passed, so they'll go to the next hex. And I think they will probably go up north there because they prefer to skirt the forest if possible, especially now that they have horses. The plains are a lot better on horses. Zel, lead the way. +1 for the weather. Zel's just not doing it. He's still recovering from the shock of the crocodile, which neither one of them may have seen. D66, 1-6 on our failed lead the way. 1-6, blocked terrain. The way forward is blocked by rocks, foreign trees, etc. You must roll might to move forward. All right, so they're traveling. Seems to be done for the rest of the day. It looks like for whatever reason, a large portion, or there's some flooding from this river. Maybe the winds had something to do with it, or maybe it's still recovering from those days and days of downpours early on in the campaign. But they do enter the hex, and now they must make a might roll. And since they're traveling on horses, I'm going to give him +1 die to his might roll. Or actually I said might or move. Is that right? Yeah, might or move to be able to move forward. So I guess it's same thing either way. But he will move. He'll use move. And since they are on horses, I'll go ahead and give him a +1 bonus. All right. Good thing. Good thing I'm a generous GM. He got that extra that extra die, and that was enough to get through. So they managed to push their way through the flooding, get their way around. Must if you fail, you suffer 1 point of damage to strength. Must roll again. Anyone who rolls successfully can help. I'm just gonna make the one roll. You won't make any progress on the map during this quarter day. So they find themselves trapped by flooding, but they're able to get through. They're able to find a way around. It takes it takes the rest of their time to get around and find this flooding, but they're not going to get any more movement today. So the next part is going to be resting or making camp. Now it's a gale force. Wow, it's been a while since they've made camp. They've enjoyed the soft comforts of the village. So they're going to make camp. Who will make camp? I think Lennox will make camp, and Zel. Well, Zel will go hunting. So he's going to make camp, and there's a -1 for the wind because it keeps blowing the tent all over the place. But the tent itself is +2. Does he make a good camp? No. 1-4 on make camp. Fail roll. Rotten food. Your food has been rotted or infected by insects. Everyone in the group must reduce a resource die for food by 1 step. I'm gonna say that probably has to do with them trudging through the the flood. So some because all the water, some of it got into their rations, and some of their rations are ruined. And he discovers this as he finishes making camp. Now Zell, he's going to go a hunting. All right. I'm not sure if it's quite how it's supposed to be done, but I'm going to give him, since he's hunting, I'm going to give him the equipment bonus on his longbow. Oh, that's actually going to be survival. All right, reviewing the rules for hunting. The first roll is to see if you find anything, then you roll, and that's when the bonus would be applied. So does he find anything? Survival and roll. Okay, aces and eights right there. He definitely finds something, and because he got for each extra he can re-roll on the hunting table, so he can re-roll twice to see what he gets. So I'm just gonna roll 3 times. Well, no, okay, I'll roll the first time. And we have a 5. A boar. Does he want that? I think he does want that. I think he's going to go for the boar. And it's going to attack him if he if he fails. So it's a difficulty -1. So now he's going to roll. He's using his longbow. So now it's going to be a roll to hit with using his longbow. But it's a boar, so -1. And since this is hunting, it's just a attempt to do the hunt. You're not actually getting to a combat, except in this case if he misses. Just enough. All right, so Zel, he's stalking through the forest, and he hears the snuffle and grunt of piggy little feet. And then he sees the boar, and he releases, and the longbow arrow finds its mark right behind the boar's shoulder. The boar squeals, falls. The other boars in the pack go scattering, and Zel finds food. What does he find? As he sits there, and he hauls it back to camp. Four meat and 2 pelts. That's pretty good. So we'll put pelts on the mount. I don't know how much those weigh or anything, but 2 pelts. We'll call it normal. Now they don't have the cooking thing, which you apparently need in this to turn the food into meals or whatnot. So they'll eat those 2 things for their meal tonight. Delicious, yummy. Forbidden Lands, forbidden bacon. So they're gonna have their forbidden bacon and sleep under the open stars, away from the river a little bit as best as they can. They got through the flooding and they found an open place. The river is still nearby. They don't really like the crocodiles, so of course they're going to rest and sleep. Let's heal our horsey. As he gets some extra grazing and some extra love and attention. Lennox is going to spend. So that's a new skill. Let's look up how to do a new skill. Develop your character. Learning a new skill costs 5 XP. You must either have used the skill and succeeded, which we just did during the session, or be instructed during a quarter day. All right, so that's perfect. It's a skill, like I said, he's been thinking about getting anyway, because, especially since they got this horse. He's learned how to take care of his horse. He's no expert, but he's come a long way. So that's a new skill at 1. That's 5. Oh, not willpower. And Have to experience. And they sleep the night away in relative calm. And we'll call it there. Thanks everyone for coming along again on our forbidden adventures in the Forbidden Lands. And we'll see you next time. Happy gaming.